GB News host Ben Leo has descended into a bitter trans row with commentator Jonathan Lis, after he claimed that the Supreme Court's ruling on biological women is nonsense. Following a challenge by women's rights campaigners, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of biological women, protecting them in single-sex spaces against transgender women. Discussing the ruling on GB News, Jonathan Lis sparked fury among the panel after claiming that the verdict forces trans people out of public life, and is nonsense. Lis fumed, "The native toilet is a women's loo if you're a trans man, and the Supreme Court judgment is saying those men can be lawfully excluded from a female-only space if it's reasonably considered that their male attributes make them men. So basically, what the Supreme Court is saying is that your biology determines who you are, except if your appearance happens to trumpet the law. That judgment is complete nonsense, and it's incoherent." Disagreeing with Lis, commentator Lee Harris interjected, "We have been living in proper confusion for years, and now we have clarity. We had no clarity because it was being fudged, so the word woman was being not necessarily linked directly to biological sex, which led to the confusion. Now we have clarity and it's very simple, Teresa. Very simple answer: if you are a trans woman, you will use the men's toilets. You will use the biological sex and there is no confusion." Intervening in the debate, host Ben Leo declared he is sick of the trans debate, and that men cannot be women, and women cannot be men. Ben stated, "Quite frankly, I'm sick of this trans debate so far already. We get bogged down in academia and expert this and expert that. The truth of the matter is, men cannot be women and women cannot be men. And the more you get bogged down in court rulings and analysis and all this, it's just muddying the waters." Hitting back at Ben, Lis then argued that there are gender recognition certificates, which allow the trans community to change their sex on their birth certificate. He explained, "There is such a thing as gender recognition certificates, which do actually allow you to change your birth certificate and legally identify as the same sex. The vast majority of women, the vast majority of lesbians, in whose name this campaign is so often waged, are supportive of trans rights." Ben grew increasingly infuriated with Lis' remarks, responding, "Do what you want, we're a liberal country, I don't care what you do, just stay out of women's toilets. I don't want to talk about trans anymore, it does my head in quite frankly. Because as I said, we get bogged down in all this stupid debate, when women can't be men and men can't be women, and the Supreme Court ruled that." Arguing his point further, Lis concluded, "By the way, most biologists will actually disagree with you, because if you look at the chromosomes, you can have 20 chromosomes and actually have a different gene. But the minute you try to pin this down, you actually get lost in the science, because the science is not as clear-cut as people like you want to believe."